Hey everyone, it's Theresa here and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm sharing an art journal layout as part of the Traci Creative Team YouTube Hop, and we are working with the August 2022 brand new release called My Oasis. This is a home themed digital collection that I think you're going to love. It's going to allow you chances to document your homes that you've loved, homes that you've lived in, where you are now. And so I'm going to create an art journal layout and follow along. So to begin my process, I'm working in this Denic notebook. It's just a regular lined notebook. I tear out some of the pages to reduce bulk. And then I've created this digital page using some of the My Oasis digital pattern papers, some of the digital stamps in the kit, and the ribbons and Ellie's and stickers just to create a background for myself. And also I've printed out a couple of the elements. For example, the washi strips I've printed out. My photo, of course, for the main star, the little notebook paper. I used one similar in the Candy Coated Christmas collection, and so I loved having another little notepad sheet here, and I just printed it out and I'm going to use it just like any other physical embellishment. And so you can see here how I printed everything out at once on a 13 by 19 sheet, and that's just to make it easier on myself. I've also printed out the Ellie's in the collection and the stickers, and you can see those off in the right hand corner of my screen here. And so I'm just gonna play with whatever comes to me. I've sort of pre-planned it in my head, but of course sometimes when you take a digital layout and reinterpret it into physical, things change a little bit. And so we'll see how this comes together. The first thing I'm going to do here is just go ahead and cut out this background that I created for myself. What I love about this is that it allows you to have that mixed media feel without actually having to pick up a brush. And you don't have to have water. This is great for low energy days. It's great for, I want to create, but I don't feel like dragging out all of my art supplies. So I encourage you, whenever you purchase digital collections, to look at those. Traci had 2 mixed media embellishments in this collection, and so what I did was I overlaid some of the patterned papers and then used those mixed media images to sort of soften the edges of those papers so that you get this sort of collage feel. And then I also here, I'm just going to cut out this scallop border. Of course, if you have a scallop edge punch, you could always use that, but it's kind of cathartic. I see the process of cutting out the embellishments and doing this part of the process is sort of cathartic for me. It allows me just to get engrossed in the process and sort of not really escape, but in some ways lets me just sort of be engrossed in this. So I divided that background in 2 so that it would go a little bit easier into the notebook. And then I'm using this Studio Calico washi tape here just as a sort of kind of joining element here. I use washi tape a lot in the gutter if I'm using in the gutter of a notebook, if I'm using mixed media. And even though I'm not using mixed media here, it still makes for a fun way to seal up these edges and create a sort of seamless background. And it's also a little bit more texture, a little bit more mess, if you will. Some other little contrast here. It's a little bit, the color palette is a little bit brighter than the My Oasis collection itself, and that's okay too. You can totally bring in washes that make you happy, and even if the values and intensities of the colors are a little bit different, that's part of the fun of art journal layouts to me. And so the photo here that I wanted to use is some of our late July irises here that bloomed. I'm sorry, they're lilies. Some of these lilies that bloomed earlier this year, and so they just sort of exploded, and I love capturing those moments. It just makes me happy. And so I wanted to put that here, and I wanted to just tell a little bit of the story about how having this home has really made a difference for me after growing up, moving around a lot. And then in my first marriage, we didn't really do a lot of work to our house, and we've done a lot of work here in this house, and that's something that really means a lot to me. And so I wanted to just document a bit of my gratitude about that and take some time to sort of sit in that appreciation, because sometimes I just get going, and I forget to take a moment to appreciate it. And so I'm doing the photo on the left-hand side of the layout and the notebook paper on the right-hand side. And then I'm tucking some of these floral embellishments in and around and behind the photo. And you'll see also where I used one of the little house die cuts, and so some of the flowers are poking out from behind that house. Some of the other things I'm using are just these word strips, and I'm just tucking those in and around, and I'm really just having fun adding these little details. I'm not really worried about anything, just allowing myself to have fun gluing these embellishments down. And I think that that's something that's a lot of fun about working on Traci's team and working with her products, is that she is very much a free spirit in her creativity, and she likes to add all the things, and I like to add all the things. And so it's a lot of fun. I feel like I can just get lost here in the process and enjoy doing what I want to do without judging myself or without questioning whether, is this going to look good or not? Well, it's going to look great. And I hope that that will inspire you to take a little bit of time to create today in a way that lets you just get lost in the process. And that's really what I look to these layouts for, is just having fun with it and rolling with it, and most importantly, loving the outcome, because that takes practice to actually say, hey, I'm going to put this here and I'm going to love it. That's actually a training of our brain that we can do as we go through these processes. So a couple of other things that I wanted to add. Of course, I need to journal a little bit. And I grabbed a stamp set from Coco Daisy, and I'm going to use a couple of the elements from that stamp set here. I just wanted to experiment a little bit with some of my ink cubes to see what colors kind of go with this. The layout needs something for a bit of contrast. And so a darker ink color is definitely a good choice here. And I've got a little gray, a little forever green there, and this little sort of metallic purple. And so I end up using this little metallic purple here, and this is sort of like a little ink blob, I think. And it's kind of a cute little element here. And what I use elements, little stamps like that for, is kind of like a home base. And so you'll see how I stamped the little purple blob in the purple, and then using a different color here, the gray, I'm stamping the word sentiments close to, on top of, next to the little purple blob. And that way they kind of go together and work together as a stamped element on the background of the page. And that's a little trick that I like to use, that I hope that you'll like to try as well, and to help you kind of meld your stamps together and build little stamped clusters in that way. It's kind of fun. So a little note about this notepad. And one thing that I did, the notepad itself is a digital stamp. And so when you're in Photoshop, you can just drag this from your brushes tool onto your canvas using a color that you've chosen in your color palette. And it has lines in it, but the lines showed up as white. And so what I did was I added just a little shadow in the FX menu, or in the FX tool, just so that those lines show as gray. And you notice I cut out the shadows around it, but they still show the lines on that page. And so that worked out really nicely. And the last thing I'm going to do here is just around these corners and just try. I've got a little bit of some layers now where those washi strips are. But I'm going to round the corners and clean everything up. I have a few details for you. You can also see this layout on my blog. And I hope that you will check out the other participants in the YouTube Hop. I will be sure to link everyone down below. And I just thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you had a great time watching, and I will see you back here again soon. Thanks again. Bye-bye.